Hey, what's going on, folks?
Hello.
Welcome to Thursday night.
Nice to have you. Nice to see you guys.
Scotch for Dummies.
Nice to see you.
Live.
Nice
Hey,
to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey,
Good to see you.
sir.
Good to see you.
Cheers.
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 Yeah, right.
Woohoo. You want some?
Yeah, I want some of that. Bring it over here. And to you all, happy Thursday.
Cheers. Welcome to Thursday. Thursday.
Wow.
I tell you what, it's a long
Like white lightning.
waited Thursday for me. It's been a very busy week. I'm sure you guys have had a busy week as well. But one of the things I look forward to every Thursday night is just catching up with you guys, and just having a great time and enjoying a few good drams.
Interesting. We poured this La Calia just to start the show with,
warm up
and I
there.
got to tell you, on the nose, I was getting almost graininess, but I think Andrew nailed it. Young malt
It
more
does
than
smell
anything.
young.
It's like coming right off the still.
But the palate doesn't come off as, I don't want to say offending, but I think I like the palate a lot better than the nose.
Well, if this was like bourbon white lightning, it wouldn't be, it'd be all angular and terrible. But this is actually rounded out well. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not harsh.
still not crazy
just
about
young.
the nose. Just the
Not
palate.
much barrel influence, but it's
No.
okay.
It's okay.
I'm down with that.
We got to give it some time. Appreciate
It's
it a little
good
bit.
Startup. I mean, we had one before the show with the patrons. We had a Glenmoe Tale of the Forest, I think it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
Something like that.
It's always
I
good
don't-
to catch up to patrons. before the show.
Roger. The heck yeah, it is. Let's see who's on before we dive into the event
topic?
of the night.
All right. We got Tom R's first. Of
Of course.
He's always
That was an
first.
hour ago. What the heck?
Well, we technically didn't launch tonight. Bob H.
Hey, Lowness. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Happy Thursday, Steven.
Steven, Richard, nice to see you. Happy Thursday as you.
Well, there's everyone. He wasn't in the pre-show.
wasn't.
He's busy.
Oh, yeah, he's
Bobby
probably getting the boat
J.
ready.
Happy Thursday, everyone. We'll be listening as I drive tonight. That's right. He was on in the car.
He's just north of us.
He was
couple
on
miles
I-65.
out.
He's probably
I think.
like 5 minutes away from my house right now. You should just come over.
You should just
Probably
come over.
should.
Just pop in and do one of those little things you like to do. And go, hey, it's Bobby J.
Yeah.
I mean, bring the dog in, Mrs. Bobby J. It's fine.
Right?
Me, my wife, and
Oh,
whiskey. We got a
yeah.
shout out to them.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Talked to them out in the after show
patrons.
yesterday.
Yeah.
We did.
New
Just
patrons.
New patron today. I saw that. Welcome to the club and looking
wa-
forward to seeing you on the show.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet you guys in person here local.
That's right.
I mean, not many locals that we get to hang out with.
Wesley is on Scotch in the Bayou Slancher, y'all. I watched her video with our good friend Zach on
Oh, that's right.
It was Tuesday night. wasn't
Balcones, yeah.
it? I watched it on the
It
way home
was.
yesterday in the car, catch the replay. It was really good.
Yep.
Good stuff.
May the 4th be with you as well.
Absolutely.
And also with you.
This
And
is
with
the
you.
way.
I'm with you. Good evening from the
man.
bar at my house. Is Trooper Henry. Good to see you as well.
Ah, glad
he's
to see you're
home.
Good
on
to see you
land.
back home.
That's good.
Oh, what's this? What's this say right here?
Oh, watch the replay. He guessed them just on our tasting notes. No way.
No way.
We need to get him on here. and
Maybe
do
you
some
should start doing
blinds.
blinds for us. Was
Heck
that
yeah.
Save.
I like that. No way.
stuff at work? Whiskey Franco, Chad Anderson. He was kind of quiet tonight in the
He was.
pre-show. Didn't
Very
hear from him too
respectful.
much. Stephen Rogers.
You got to fight your way in there.
That's right.
Mark's on too.
Holy
Mark
moly.
Rayner.
Mark Rayner. Good to see you, friend.
Wow. Okay. So
George K.
lots of good
George
people
Cap.
on here. Wow. Jeez.
Michael.
Kim's on. Good
Oh,
to see
Kim.
Kim.
Are you still in D.C.?
Oh, wow. Okay. Cool. She's catching up.
She's saying hi to everyone.
Look at this guy.
What's that?
Oh, no.
We know this guy.
Uh-huh.
Ole.
Good to see
Good to see
you.
you, Mel.
Mel.
All right. So
There's Peter.
I'm not
Corey
sure
and
what that is.
Bob H.
Okay. All
Okay.
right, let's get
Man,
let's
there's
get
a lot of
going. We
people.
got a lot of
Yeah,
people
we
tonight.
got
work to
time
do.
for that.
So mentioned it last week. Tonight is Dose. A what's it called? A dram good time. A second sip of some of our past drams. Episode number Dose
Had
2.
so much fun the first time, you decided to do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of these. I
Same
think.
bottles?
It's fun.
I think it's the
Exact
thing.
same bottles.
All right.
So I'm gonna do it this time and give it to you so you can guess what they were. So
Awesome. I think that's a great idea.
Tastes like an open.
yeah. So if you didn't watch last week's show, Mark, why don't you give a replay of what the idea is behind it?
Yeah. So over the last 7 years, we're going back in the YouTube dashboard and looking at our old reviews and picking bottles that we reviewed sometime in those 7, at some period of time. Started back going way back last week and did 2 bottles that we reviewed in our first year of doing reviews. Haven't touched them since. I haven't reviewed them since. I shouldn't say I haven't touched them because, I mean, I'm sure we've all had a Macallan 12 since then, but it's not something that we regularly drink. We hadn't reviewed them. So it's a matter of blind review reviewing them, re-reviewing, if you will. It's not about trying to guess the bottle. It's not
It's
about
fun, but that's not. Part of
yeah. If you want to take a guess, that's fine. But it's actually redoing the review the way we used to do our reviews, literally going over the nose, the palate, giving individual perceptions, and then scoring that whiskey on our good old-fashioned 4-point scale. And then sure, we reveal it, and that's wonderful. But the good news is we've got the old review to go back on and share with you guys to see what the old score was. So has the palate changed? Has the whiskey changed? Are they the same? It's not so important to guess the bottle, but I don't know if you provided a cheat sheet for them.
I gave the info to Mystery Girl. She'll be posting here. I'm sure a Google Doc for you all to watch and enjoy. It's got some of my notes on there, but we'll go through that as we kind of go through the drams here in a second.
Does it have the link to the?
It has
original?
links to the original videos in there as well,
which
is
fun.
really, by the way, I watched them. Not only did I cringe the entire time, but good Lord, were we really bad? Like,
not to say we're any good
we're
now.
not good now.
So
but,
you're saying it's at least 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, maybe it could be
last year.
It could be last year. We're still sucky.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I watched this from last year. I still cringe. Watched last week. I cringed.
All right. If you're listening to comments or if you're or watch the show, Mr. Girl just posted a link to the spreadsheet. Can I do that?
It's a document. No, you cannot. Put your phone down. Oh. So tonight, as we did last week, we've got 2 sets of glasses here. We've got gold and we've got black. I'll be doing the green and the purple there. But basically, we've got some blinds here for you guys to try. We're going to start tonight off, gentlemen. Are you guys ready, by the way?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
How's your palate feeling?
Sure.
Are you good?
Well,
yeah,
I tried to refresh.
I was thinking we do one and then we take like a halftime in between the two, and we can talk about a couple of topics. The San Francisco Whiskey Award results were out, and we've kind of looked at those a little bit. Okay. And we can talk about those if there's anything of relevance in the news. I think Royal Salute came out with a big bottle for this weekend's event.
We could go through. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's some things we can talk about a little to give our palate a second break and then go into round 2 and see what happens.
All right.
So let's start with the gold tonight first.
Gold.
So the gold glasses, you mark. I will take the green, obviously.
Do you have that in the spread in the sheet that you have? Is it listed as gold and black?
No, it's not. They'll have to figure it out. If you're looking at the cheat sheet, you'll figure this out pretty quickly, I would think.
All right. So we're going to go through this. We're going to nose it. We're going to taste it. We're going to add some water and do the same. And we're going to understand whether we like this whiskey or not, or how we would rate this whiskey on the scale of 1 to 4. So typically we would have ABV, distillery.
Yeah, give us the deets on that, Drew. At least on
what are you going to share with us?
Well, give me some time to look some of that up because I didn't get that part yet.
Right. So typically we get an ABV. We on a normal review we would talk about the distillery and some of that, but this is a blind review.
It's blind. If you want to know about the distillery, go watch the old review because we tried to give some history on that. So age and ABVs, that's common stuff that we would know in a review, but not that it's that important. So
it's not huge. I mean, it does help a little bit. Obviously, I'll give you some of those details as we get going here. But I will say we talked a lot last week about price does come into factor in our reviews. I mean, it just is what it is, right? That's the whole point of our journey, is to kind of help people make decisions based off a little bit of price and everything else. And I will say, this one hasn't changed a whole lot in price. It's shifted a little bit, but basically around the same price.
So have we only reviewed this once?
Yes, that's correct.
So I get a fruity note.
That's exactly what I was getting. Grapes, some light grapes,
maybe a little red apple.
Could be.
What do you think the ABV is?
Soft.
It doesn't smell high.
No, I mean, on the nose, I wouldn't say it's more than 43.
So yeah, I agree.
43 is correct.
Okay.
I would have said 40 to 43. I mean,
it is.
I mean, you said
right
either one,
range,
so you're going to be great in pretty much both of those guesses.
So yeah, I'm getting no smoke, no peat. It's none of that. It's a light kind of a Highland smell.
Yeah, a little perfumey.
A little bit. I'm not getting heavy sherry. Bourbon cask, maybe a finish, maybe finished. That's just in my nose.
Yeah, I got a little bit of fruit in the nose when I'm smelling it, but not a whole lot. Mostly bourbon, ex-bourbon. There's a hint of there's a little banana in there
Spicy.
actually.
It is a little spicy. I
good
think
spice
I don't.
note.
I think it's only bourbon.
Actually, there's a lot more spice in the
cask.
back end than I would expect because I get a lot of heat, and it's not alcohol heat because I mean there's nothing.
Yeah,
on the
I would
alcohol.
say that the spirit in here is much more pleasant than I was getting on the nose. The nose was tame. Wasn't really anything to write home about, but the palate has more body to it. On the first palate, and admittedly, I just was drinking. I tried to rinse my palate, but this may take a second sip to get the good flavor.
It's got a really long finish
That's
because
nice,
of that spiciness. I mean, it lasts a long time.
Buttery.
This is one I know that I recall these because I'm still not great at introing things, but I introed this video. For us.
Awesome.
And I am watching it. I'm cringing watching myself do it. But even back then, I'm like, guys, please throw me a bone. Help me out a little bit here. And you guys did. You helped me out.
So
it was very good. I will say this, that it was March 18th, 2016.
Oh.
Been a while. Been a minute.
So after the initial sip, it's much butterier now. It's less juicy fruit sweet and more. I'm getting really that bourbon, not vanillas, but it's like butter.
Did you put water on it yet?
Not yet. No, I mean, not much has changed after the first sip. It smells a little bit more oaky on the nose to me after the first sip. Not
I
nearly
kind of like
as
that
fruity.
spiciness.
Oh, it's spicy as all get out.
It does have a nice pepper finish too.
I really kind of like that. It's not what I would expect from the nose at all.
There's actually, in my second sip, I've got a little bit more.
Oh yeah, it's like.
Well, I don't want to say too much.
It's developing.
What do you got, Mark?
I mean, honestly, what really punches me, what comes out is the mid to late palate and the finish, which is just really, really spicy. A lot more than I expect.
Like cinnamons or like cinnamon spice or rice spice, or what kind of spice are you thinking? Cloves and nutmeg, or
I would say a mix between clove and cinnamon. Not over cinnamon. It's not like Fireball. It's not like an over cinnamon flavor, but
yeah, I get some nutmeg in there. Some nuttiness like pecans or something.
Yeah, I think you're right with the nutmeg there. And it has kind
Would you
of
say marzipan? No, I'm kidding.
Maybe.
Sean was here. He might call a little marzipan in there.
Definitely not nougat.
It does. To me, it definitely tastes at least 43. I think the pepper makes it taste hotter than what it really is.
So hang on, I got to get some water on this and try to figure something out. Something needs to be pulled out of this. I got to get more out of this than what I'm getting.
So can you, Drew? Can you give your tasting notes without giving it away? I don't know if we would pick up on it, but without you thinking you gave it away.
No, I think you guys have nailed most of the flavors I'm getting as well. I will say there was a bit more fruitiness there than I think you guys may not be calling out.
On the palate? See, I got that on the initial nose.
Yeah, there's a sweet fruit there on the palate that I feel like
apples. I think you maybe get some apples in there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you divulge a little price point here? Is that possible?
This is I believe, I think I can give you the real price in a second, but I think it was around. No, you're fine. I think it was around $85.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so in our previous reviews, we may or may not have taken the net into account.
I think we did.
I gotta tell you, it's weighing on me on this one. If it's $85,
the price it's expensive.
I would agree.
For what you're getting. Okay.
Yeah,
I would agree. So it's starting to come back. That grape sweetness is starting to come back, and it's not my wheelhouse by any stretch. It's a decent whiskey. It's good flavor. There's nothing off-putting about it. It's fairly tame. Ex-bourbon barrel casks tend to not be my favorite right now. I get some butteriness from that bourbon cask, but
It's actually 89, so a little higher than.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you
So
think?
let me ask you this though, since this is not a question for him because he's aware of what this is, but do you think this is a blend? Do you think this is a single malt? Do you think this is?
You get grainy on this?
I don't get any
No.
graininess. No.
It's all malt. I don't know. It could be a blended malt though, for sure.
Mm.
I don't think it's grain. It doesn't taste grainy to me, but
I mean the spice note. I'm seriously, it's not even the first palate. You know, the first you put it in your mouth, it doesn't. I don't get it. It's after right before I'm getting ready to swallow it, man. The spice note just comes out and just follows it all the way down for a long time.
yeah.
It's not alcohol burn because it's light.
Do you
on the
like
alcohol.
it?
I think it's a little interesting. I don't know if this would be. Well, I guess I might as well go if I'm going to get
Go
into
ahead.
this. I
Yeah.
haven't put any water on it yet, though. So let me see what water does. To
Well,
this.
I can start mine. So I don't. This is not my favorite whiskey. For $85, I don't know if I would buy it for that. There's nothing wrong with this whiskey. If you like an ex-bourbon barrel finish, then this is really for you. It has some sweetness to it. It has some maltiness to it. It has a little bit of pepperiness to it, which some people like. The finish seems kind of. It's not short, but it's just not maybe my favorite. I would absolutely drink this if it was given to me. I would talk through it. I would enjoy it. I probably wouldn't buy it though. So for me, that puts it probably at a 2-ish.
You
Because
can't do ishes.
it's okay. It's a 2.0. Thank you. 2.047. No, it's a 2. Because it's a decent whiskey. It's definitely something you don't turn away.
Mm.
And you just enjoy it and you talk through it.
Water. I think water helped it. Actually, now I'm getting toasted marshmallow. I didn't have that before.
I'm still. So water to me tamed down that initial spice on the palate, but it didn't tame down the spice on the finish.
Yeah. Two's a good rate for me.
Yeah, man, I hate to come in and say the same thing, but that's kind of where so I'll tell you this. This is definitely more of a dram that I would enjoy in the winter. This is more of a dram, in front of my fireplace when I'm cold, which I usually am cold most of the winter. I want a spicy dram. And it's the mood type of thing. I don't know if this is something I reach for on a regular basis. I would have it on my bar. I wouldn't turn it down if you poured it for me. Yeah, I would, have a glass. I don't know if this is something I'm going to have multiple glasses of in one night because to me that powerness of the spiciness is a one dram thing for me.
Interesting, because I wouldn't consider this a winter dram because I guess
I don't
there's
think
some,
so either.
some spice.
So-
I think it's like a summer dram. It's light and
The spiciness
I agree with
is what
Andrew on
makes
this
me
one.
go winter. That's when I get that spiciness and that heat on the spice. It's time to get in the.
that's when I get into
Long
the
johns
peated
and
and
enjoy
the heavy thing.
It does have a little bit of spice. Would you score it then?
I haven't yet because I'll be honest. I put water on it, right, and here I am, and it's honestly starting to
getting
soften
better.
up a little
It's getting
bit
much
right
better
now.
with water. I'm telling you.
It's actually getting creamier.
It's
with
got.
water.
I've got more syrup notes than I had before. That was
So,
not there.
I mean, we were guilty of this probably in 2016 of all things. Trying to keep our reviews down to 15 minutes, right?
Yeah,
gotta
go.
go.
Tonight's a little different though.
Right.
I mean, it's okay.
But because of that, there were probably a lot of reviews that we didn't give water enough.
Oh, well,
of a
for sure.
chance,
Of
is
course.
what
we
I'm
got beaten
saying.
up all
Of
the time
course,
for that.
right.
So I honestly, 5 minutes makes a difference after you put water on it. Heck, I just watched. I read an article tonight that I was going to think about using for Scotch in the News. It said something about putting too much water on your expensive whiskey can turn it into a bar swell or something like that. And I'm like,
No,
really? I'm
but
like, how about what do they water it down to in a competition?
Like 30,
Like
20,
28%.
20 ABV. Yeah, some of it.
So hang on a second. Let me finish this out.
Yeah, I actually think neat route. If you let it set for a while, I think it would help. But I think the water really is a good influencer on this. I got some. Obviously, I know what it is, so it's going to help me influence that a little bit. But I'm getting some of the characteristics that you would think you're getting out of this with the water. I didn't get those neat.
So
that's if that's helpful at all.
The irony is I will give it a 0.5 bump because of the water. And when I say irony, what kills me about that is this is a 43% ABV whiskey that I'm saying is better with water, and that is
you wouldn't think that. But it is.
The funny thing is, the more I sip this, more stringed wet paper for me.
Really?
Wet paper.
Yeah, it's weird.
So you're getting ready to knock it
No,
down.
I'm not. I
mean, you can. We're not done.
My rating. I mean, I give it a 2. It is decent whiskey. I don't think I would add more. So I did add water a couple times to it, and the second time it went way too far.
Did you say wet paper? Thanks, man. I don't want to finish it now. You put that in my head.
No, taste it now with that in mind and see. Do you get wet paper on it? Wet newspaper? Maybe a little.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little pasty.
Whatever. Yeah, I could see why you're saying paste. But
So, yeah, you're welcome.
you got to score it, man.
Right. I mean, I want to give it that 0.5, but it's a 2. It's a 2.
All right. So you guys are both solid 2s.
2.5.
Okay. Fair enough. So I will say when we originally did this one, I'll give your scores in a second. I actually gave this a 3.
Okay.
I would actually probably I'm in between a 2 and a 2.5 as well. I think back then I feel like it's changed. I don't remember it being this uneventful.
Uneventful. Okay.
It's still good. And I do like it. And I feel like this is I don't like saying everyday dram because it's something that this is a great easy drinking. I don't want anything fancy. Maybe something a little sweeter than normal. But the problem I have with it is the price. Gosh darn it. That's up there. But let me say this. It's a 14-year-old.
Okay.
So it helps a little with the price.
No, it doesn't.
Well, I
mean, I don't care about the. I don't really care about the age.
Fair enough. But in the world of marketing, the price does push that up a little bit.
Sure.
To me, and I'm sure you guys have had this in whiskeys before. I've actually heard someone talking about it using this type of thing. It almost tastes like there's a little bit of an artificial note in there, like artificial sweetener or an art.
Some of those can do that.
I don't know what that is, and I'm just beating it up, but makes me wonder what it is now. He said it's a 14.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's not open 14.
That's true. So
It's Glenfiddich 14.
going back, Mark, you gave this back in 2016. You gave this 2.5, and you really liked it with water.
I'll be damned.
Well,
I almost gave it a 2.5 tonight. I wanted to. I was going to give it a 0.5 bump for the water.
Andrew, actually, you gave it a 2 tonight, didn't you? Yeah. You actually gave it a 1.5.
And you were going to knock it down.
You did not like the finish at all back in 2016. So there's that. Sean gave it a 2.5. So we totaled it out with my 3. We totaled it at 2.38. I will say that I don't feel like what we're doing tonight. I feel like we're kind of still in the same ballpark.
very close.
Very close.
But I mean,
I would interesting to see that. Are we getting the same flavor notes? Are we more descriptive tonight than we were then? I don't know. It'd be interesting to
and
that.
you can watch the link in the document.
On
on
the nose.
It was number 42 when we used to keep score of videos. It was our number 42.
All right.
And so any guesses?
Glenfiddich 14 bourbon.
I've never been able to do that, especially from 6 years ago.
Look that way.
7 years ago. La, 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 la. He's gonna pull out so we don't see the other bottle that he's gonna show us.
Look on the camera.
There we go. Here's what we got, boys.
Balvenie 14.
Wow.
Oh, the Caribbean Cask.
The Caribbean Cask. Balvenie 14 Caribbean Cask.
Oh, that's too bad.
Spicy. That explains it. I mean, it lives up to the name on that. But
So extra matured in rum cask. So I did say that it was finished.
Spicy. You guys all call it spiciness. That definitely has some spiciness to it with the pepper and a few other things. I feel like if you guys, this is one of those interesting things when you do things blind, you don't necessarily have some of the advantage of knowing what you're drinking, obviously. So with this one, I think you may tend to pick out maybe more integral spices that you probably didn't blind. Maybe, I don't know.
To me, this one gets much better with water and time, because it's honestly the last sip that the spicy note was tamed down enough to where it's not just knocking me around.
Yeah, anything you finish in rum is terrible. Right, Tom?
Tom said you're dead to me.
I still like it. And you know, I remember back in the day, this was one of my favorites when we first started.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I really liked it.
I gotta be honest though, for $90, there's other bottles that I'm
no way
that are gonna attract my attention.
And what I find interesting about that is I just assumed when I bought it, I'm like, okay, well, inflation, if you will, or Scotch, whatever. I couldn't believe when I looked back, it was fairly same price. I'm like,
That's what I was just going to
Within
say.
wow,
comparison.
really?
In 2016, it was still $85.
That's what we said it was 90 basically in the
I wonder if this is a
review.
new bottling, if it's the same bottle. They just made a bunch of it. And
It's a good question.
Get rid of it.
I don't know, but interesting, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
very good.
when's the last time you've had this?
It's been
7 years.
7 years. Yeah.
quite a bit. I mean, we'll kill it. This is a zebra now.
That's a good bottle. I actually enjoy. I think honestly, I think we're struggling to is there's maybe some missing taste, but the price really hurts this one a lot.
It does.
It does.
And if it was closer to $60,
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot easier to pull the trigger.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Not my wheelhouse, but that's okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Okay, so that was cool. Let's give that palette a break.
Yep.
We'll put this one over here for viewers to at least see it while we're talking. Let me rinse this palette out a little bit and
All
we'll
right.
get into the conversation. So I don't know, a month or so ago, I did a patron. It's been about 6 weeks. I did a patron show where we really kind of just it was the after show, or I did a straight patron show because we didn't do a live, and I talked to the patrons and just really broke down the International Whiskey Awards. Really kind of dove in and dissected it to really try to get underneath everything and really talk about the winners, the losers, the surprisers, right? The sleepers, if you will. And was really looking forward to the San Francisco awards results coming out so that we could do a whole show on comparing these and really kind of point out these things. I got to say, after looking at the San Francisco award results, it's not quite as easy, and it's actually quite disappointing to me because the way they do it. And to me, it just felt like the Oprah show where everybody gets a double gold.
Yeah, I looked through so you're talking about San Francisco.
Yeah.
The San Francisco one, I looked through there. You can on the website now, you can sort by country. They're sorted by Scotch. And there are fewer Scotches than I expected in there. And there's a few. Ardbeg has like 8 in there or something like that.
In the double gold?
In the competition. But one thing that I thought was interesting was they have the heavy vapors in there. So they put this is their new release this year. The Ardbeg heavy vapors. They have the committee release and the general release in there. The general release got double gold. The committee release got silver.
What?
Okay. I mean, I haven't had either one of them, so I can't
either.
judge them. I can't.
But typically, the committee releases are typically higher ABV. They've got they're
offering.
They're restricted selection because they're better. But to go from double gold to a silver,
right,
in the same presentation, just basically different cast strength, I think that's really interesting.
So the best whiskey of the International Whiskey Awards, the top whiskey scored a 99 out of 100 was a Glenturret Triple Wood, and I think. If I'm remembering correctly, it scored a gold at San Francisco. It might have even been a silver. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it scored a gold,
but not a double gold.
But it sure as heck didn't score a double gold. And I'm like, how does it not score a double gold there when it was not just the best Scotch, it was the best whiskey, a 99 out of 100, the top scoring whiskey in the entire competition.
So I was going through the website today trying to figure out how they do their scoring because we looked at the International Whiskey and Wine and Spirits competition, and they're very upfront on their website about how they do this tasting, who tasted each whiskey, and what the summary score was. Where it's a little more opaque with San Francisco.
Opaque.
And but if I remember right, San Francisco has a thing where they go through tasting panels and then they get gold, silver, bronze. And then if it's gold, they take all the golds and put them to another tasting panel, and then they can get a double gold. So it's like a second tier to get to that double gold. So if you got a really high tasting panel, they gave it a 99 to give it a gold. And then it went to another tasting panel and they didn't give it a double gold. Then it's a wholly different palette that would give it the double gold. Check me on that. You can tear me down if that's wrong.
This is about as confused as me going to my daughter's volleyball competitions and trying to figure out the tournament. Like, what the hell is going on? It's so unorthodox. Like,
to me, it just gives me a feeling of you pay enough for the entry fee to get your bottle in there, and they're basically guaranteeing you some good advertisement. That's the way it felt.
Well, so Ardbeg of the Ardbegs, there were only 2 or 3 that got double gold. So then they had like 8 or 10 entries, and the Wee Beastie was in there, the 10-year-old, the 25. I mean, they had some old, Ugadale. They had a bunch of other whiskeys in there. So they all didn't get gold even. So
So at the end of the day, I'm not discounting it completely because I will go out there and I will pick a couple of sleepers that are surprises to me that won gold or double gold, and I'll seek those bottles out because I'm interested in them. I don't know anything about them, and they did well there.
Yeah, and they are the San Francisco is also much more specific about their category. So it may be like Scotch whiskey under 10 years, Scotch whiskey non-age statement, Scotch whiskey over 10 years.
So basically, we'll make enough categories to where everybody can win.
gets a gold.
You get a gold. You get a gold.
Right.
You get a gold.
Double golds for everybody.
Could be that case, but I'm not going to judge it yet. I need more information.
Okay.
Whatever.
So I mean, whatever. I really wanted to do a comparison side by side. It's just not it doesn't marry up as well for a whole show conversation like I thought it was going to.
Well, yeah, we'll have to look at the data.
Well,
there's probably another one coming out, isn't there?
We'll dive into it a little bit deeper, and maybe we wait for any other competitions and we do one show where we're just literally talking about all of them compared to find out which ones rise to the top, which ones fell apart, which sleepers, and this, that, and the other. But we had some other Scotch in the news. I know there's a big event happening this weekend. I think
this weekend. I think it's tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah, I just posted a link to it. I think it's Saturday.
So this is a big deal.
I didn't get an invite.
So I didn't get mine either. I think that got lost in the mail. So Royal Salute, which is known to be one of the first official royal whiskeys, has released a $25,000 Royal Salute blended Scotch whiskey, the Coronation of King Charles III edition.
You know what's wild is that they listed it at $25,000. They didn't even have the freaking gall to put it in pounds. I mean, for Christ's sake, eh?
Well, now I don't know. The interesting thing about it, so it's a 21-year-old whiskey in honor of Coronation of Queen Elizabeth and the 21-gun salute. What?
That was the very first one, the Royal Salute 21 that you can buy now.
Oh, it was created for that.
That's why they created that.
So I wonder what the story is behind this Royal Salute for the coronation
for this weekend.
Well,
separate.
It's momentous tribute to both the British monarchy and the Royal Salute's unique origin story.
Yeah, but is it like just a regular?
It's
just in a fancy glass.
No. Oh, so okay. First of all, I wouldn't be surprised if 100 different distilleries make special bottlings for this weekend.
They're not official royal.
Right.
Labeled.
There's a handful now that have those that signature, if you will, but.
Yeah, so there's only 500 available and 56 coming to the U.S. So,
but you can pre-order a bottle of this Regal
Reserve Bar now.
Wow,
interesting. I think the other thing too that I remember hearing even this morning on today's show about. Do you know that his favorite distillery is Wolfburn?
Charles? Yeah, I was going to say that this is a good tie because I remember reading articles and seeing pictures. Yeah, seeing pictures. He's visited the distillery.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's ironic because here's another story we've got.
This is his new This is his jam.
Yeah, he went up there and he loved it so much. Like it's one of his favorite. Like he has special bottles just from them.
I'm sure they'll bottle whatever
you want, King.
Yeah. So Wolfburn, this was in mid-April. Wolfburn released its first 10-year-old whiskey,
which is super cool. We had a contact with them 5 years ago,
5 or 6 years ago, when they just first released their whiskeys.
Right. They didn't have anything really out there. They had maybe one that was, I think, a 4-year-old at the time.
Well, they were not, I thought they were still non-aged at the time.
They were non-aged.
They were non-aged.
Yeah.
And we actually interviewed
the
master distiller at the time. We reached out to him. He was super stoked to do it. He actually did the interview from his house. Remember that? I mean, he was super excited.
Back and watch it.
Yeah.
Really cool guy. He was very excited to get on the show. A little challenging because Wolfburn, where it's located, the internet's really not.
They don't have high-speed internet there. It's like
they might now, but then they sure didn't.
Starlink,
and that's why he did the interview at his house. But and he's no longer there. I think I tried to follow up with him years later, and he had left the distillery and came to the States to distill.
Oh, did he really?
I think he's here in the States working for some bourbon distillery. But yeah, since then I know King Charles. It was Prince Charles at the time had made visits there and really loved it, and I knew they had a big tie, and so that was really cool to see that they're finally putting a 10-year-old. I mean, I want to try it.
I do too.
I mean,
yeah, we need to find that.
It's always interesting when you think about how these distillers go through and make something and it's just sitting around for 10 years, 15, 20 years.
I can't imagine.
They don't get they'd sample it here and there, but that's something that he started making 10 years ago, and they're just now finally getting an age statement to push out. It's pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I was talking to Bob Hammond today on the phone about a distillery, and they made it through the gauntlet, the wait,
Mhm.
because that's the biggest challenge to any new distillery. You know,
How do you make revenue while you're sitting waiting for something to?
And they didn't
the
do
age.
gins and vodkas and
I don't
stuff.
think they
No,
did.
They did
that's
just whiskey.
They
Did
hung
not
out
NASs.
Yeah, and that's fine.
and
then-
waited the long haul, and now they have an age statement. And you know, I have high hopes for it. I think it should be good, and I hope it's really good. We'll see though. I want to find a bottle of it.
Well, isn't that
Somebody
what-
out there.
Kilkerran did the same thing because Kilkerran released their work in progresses as they were developing, as they were building their inventory, and then they started nailing these Kilkerran 8s and things, and just like, wow, it's good now.
Yeah, but I mean, where that history came from. Now that we know Kilkerran and know how it started and who owns it and who's behind it all, okay, it was going to be good.
It was good.
Right? It was going to happen.
Right. Well,
But
we definitely need to get a bottle of Wolfburn. It's been a minute. Maybe they'll show up in one of these little events.
yeah, I can't remember. There was it called Nervin or something like that? Well, I can't
don't
remember the
remember
ones
either.
we did. We did one or two of them.
I think we had a couple of them we bought back in the day. They're
Yeah.
I don't know if Total Wine has any or if Vine Table. They may have a bottle or
We
two.
may be able to
Well,
talk
I'm gonna hold out until
Story
I can
company.
find this 10-year-old.
for
but
sure. That'd be great.
yeah,
If anyone sees it on the shelf, alert us, please.
yeah. Or if you've had it, throw in the chat. Would love to hear what you think about it.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm
great.
excited for them, and got high hopes for them. So
Boys, you ready to move on
Let's
to
move
on.
round two?
round 2, one for you. You get the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Sacre bleu.
So we
Oh,
are
look,
now.
he gave himself a Sean pour.
He did.
Oh, I did, didn't I? We are now on to round 2. As a recap, the first one was Balvenie 14-year Caribbean cask, which I think at the end of the day, we kind of scored basically the same. I think very similar, very, very close. This one's going to be interesting. This is another one that we have not reviewed again. Since. I think this one's going to create some buzz.
Uh-oh.
I can't wait for you guys to start
What
getting
year?
this.
I think I know what Mark's going to say as soon as he noses it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sirree.
Say it.
Damn rubber shop. There's a tire shop in that glass.
I just want to. I am.
It does smell like Macallan.
I just want to say and state for the record
Is it a Macallan? Can you at least say that because we just called it?
a couple of things. And you'll notice right now if you're watching along
see
and
his
you're pulling. They're already saying it. If you're pulling the document open, I noted it in the notes. Mark referred to this as a Macallan smell. This was 2015, video number 19.
Smells like Macallan. It does smell like Macallan.
Yeah, walked into a freaking tire barn. I'm like, I'll take those
Yeah.
R15.
So what we mean is like it's getting
That's funny. You did that.
It's getting a high sulfur note on the nose.
Your nose is not changed,
which
Mark.
which could be from a sherry, sulfur candle used to sanitize a sherry cask.
So what are you guys getting in those? Talk me through it.
Honestly, so when I try to get past the sulfur note, right,
Struggling.
there's actually a metallic note that I'm smelling as well. Like if you were to like put your head in like a stainless steel vat and a smaller pot or something and take a deep breath, it's like a metallic note.
It does smell like that. It's like a tire shop, but it still has the metal rims on it, like an old steel rim. That's great.
We try to paint a picture for you there at home.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take a minute to get past that though. There's got to be more to it than that on the nose.
Yeah. So let me clear that and think about this. So give me some more of these details.
Okay.
You said
So-
ABV.
Tom, if you're watching, see if you can find the price back then, because I couldn't find it when I was looking it up. So that might be helpful in a bit. But I will say that not something else. This was well.
Okay,
I should
it's
say this.
starting with
I don't
with
think you
all.
remember this. Frank was in this episode with us.
Oh, interesting. It's stag beer.
That's a good guess. No, what was your ABV on this?
Okay, so it's starting to weft
What
off,
do you
weft
what
off
do you
now.
think ABV is?
40, 43 again.
I'm guessing 40.
Yeah, 40 sounds good.
Well, maybe not. Maybe a little higher.
Shit.
I have to taste it first. So I'm starting to get more. Some of the sulfur is wafting off, and the metallic is coming through. I'm starting to get some sweetness out of it.
It is 43.
Maybe some sherryness.
So ironically enough, it went from the tire shop, that rubbery tire shop, to more of a burnt match smell. Both sulfur notes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But
Not
but
that much different.
But to me, a complete difference. I mean, seriously, it's a night and day difference between walking into, a bike tire shop, or you going to buy tires for your car and you just smell that rubber. This and then a blown out match. No, I don't get any peat on this at this point. Do you?
No, I do think that sherry influence is there. I did take a quick sip of it.
So I think price wise, it went up a little bit, but not terribly bad. Any guesses on price? Probably doesn't matter too much. I guess I can just tell you. It was around $50 back then. I think it was like 60 now.
Pretty damn good. That's nice.
It's a deeper, richer whiskey than the other one. I'm not saying it's particularly great.
That's a quality item, Clark.
I'm not.
I don't know.
So it's very different. So this has more bitterness and more astringency to it than the other one did. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure it has like really good flavors I can call out.
I'm getting I'm getting mincemeat, like pie, like on the nose.
Mincemeat pie.
So my parents' English, so it was basically a dessert, and it was pastry with sweet mincemeat inside with powdered sugar.
So it's like, is that a mammal? Is that a mince? What are we talking about?
I think it's fruit. I'm not really even sure, to be honest with you. I never really liked them, but I know that smell, and that's what I'm getting. What are you getting?
I'm watching him choke this down.
Have you ever been mince hunting?
Have you been mince?
I was wondering, how is there a call for it?
Or do you farm minces or do you hunt them?
It's like snipe hunting, man. I've been snipe hunting before. You get a plastic bag and a flashlight.
This is already off the rails. Oh
my goodness. Yes, mincemeat is a fruit. See, thank you. I knew stuff would work with
why the hell they call it meat? Now you're confusing me, Drew.
But it's kind of like I would say a sugary molasses fruit fig type of profile.
Here we are 2 or 3 minutes after our initial nose, maybe 5 minutes. The sulfur note's completely and utterly gone.
There you go.
Sulfur note's gone. And I honestly was getting that deep fig note that you're talking about. That's underneath it all, which is good. I like that. I've always been sensitive to the sulfur. I'm not saying it's off-putting. It doesn't offend me. Obviously, I like Macallan 12, but it's just something that always punches me in the face. Like, oh, there it is, because I'm sensitive to that. No, there was whiskeys where you guys were like, "There's no sulfur in this." I'm like, "No, there's not. That's all I get." Right? But that's because I'm sensitive to it. But I really am liking the undertones once you get underneath that.
Yeah, I'm definitely fig is probably one of the best terms for what I'm getting on the palate right now, because it's a semi-sweet but slightly bitter palate. The weird thing is, and I'm trying to figure out how this happens. The palate just kind of stops about mid-tongue. It doesn't like roll back and give me all this flavor as it kind of builds into my palate. It's really weird. I don't know what's going on with that tonight. Finish is fairly short.
I wouldn't say it's a spicy finish, but I get a little bit of a Linden's cough drop, a little bit of a little slight menthol, cherry menthol on the back end.
Yes, I can see that.
Which is really enjoyable. I think it's really tasty. Let me put a little water on it and see where I go about this.
I think maybe that's the problem, because it feels really tight. It feels like a sherried whiskey that is really tight in its palate right now. At 43.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it does taste a little tight. It feels like it wants to open up a little bit, and the water hopefully will help do that.
Yeah, it's starting to get.
Is it talking to you?
It's
talking to me.
Put some water on me, please. Okay.
Just put some water on it.
Bloop.
Oh man, I was going Friday quote. Oh geez, he had to take it there.
Oh wow, man, it's so much
Really?
sweeter in the nose. Yes.
All right, let that sit
Wow.
for a hot
I would
second here.
agree on that. All right.
So far, I feel like you guys are enjoying this.
Yeah, did you give a price already?
Yeah,
did I
it's
miss
like
that?
Like
$60.
$60.
Hmm.
Would it help if I gave you an age?
I mean, sure, it would. I mean, maybe it would help if you answered other questions. Like, is it a Solera vat or?
It's not.
Okay.
That's
for
interesting.
$60.
I see what you're doing there. It
Oh,
is a 12-year-old. So that may help you a little bit.
No. You're throwing a curveball here. We reviewed this when 2016.
Yeah, it was our number
It's not
19.
important. I
It
need
was
to
very
forget trying to
early
guess this thing.
in our reviews. And I honestly, we've had it. I will say we've had this since then,
I'm sure we have.
but we've not reviewed it since then. So that's what really was interesting to me is that when I saw this, I'm like, that would be a great one to re-review. Like
We've had it.
you've had a few bottles since then.
So this is, I will say this has some components of what I really like in a sherried whiskey. It's got that fig. It's got a little bit of that depth. But it's
Wow.
like really tight. I don't know. I can't, it's not like it doesn't, blow up like a really
And it's
great
coming
whiskey
home to
does.
roost for me.
Oh, it's hitting it. Oh man.
Hello, lover.
What region is this?
Mine.
It's the Mark region, wheelhouse region. It's delicious. The water is, I think, definitely helped it open up.
I don't know. Where's Tamdu at? Speyside?
I think Tamdu is Highland.
Actually, there's
it's so much better.
there's a wee bit of you said bitterness. So maybe that's what
Definitely some
I'm
bitterness.
leading to. There's a wee bit of dark chocolate note on the back end. The late palate, early finish.
Concentrating on finish. What do you guys talk to me about your finish right now? What are you getting finish? Is it lasting? Are you chewing on it? Do you have any other things?
So I'll get to the finish in a second. The one thing with the water, it really opened up the sweetness in the mid palate, and I think it allowed it to roll back into a kind of a bitter, maybe bitter chocolate, but a more bitter finish on it. But allowed it to roll back, and the palate totally rolls into dark chocolate, or not some milk chocolate.
So it's bitter.
A little bit, but it's sweetening up. It's sweetening up.
Yeah, it's not like
water.
an off-putting bitter. It's not overpowering. It's not like, oh man, I don't want any more of that. No, it's just a note that's in there, and it's really good. I do get a bit of a late finish of brininess on my tongue. Just on my tongue. It's not like in my throat or in the, it's like 15 seconds after you've taken the drink. It seems like I've got salt on my tongue. Man, I'm ready to go.
Sounds like you're ready. Go for it.
I'm ready to rock this thing out. So obviously very strong sulfur notes up front. Fresh pour, right? You take the top off and you're like smacked with it. And that just is something that's going to hit me every time if it's there. But pretty quick to get underneath it. And honestly, 2 minutes after, that's gone and it's easy to get underneath it. Once you get underneath it, really good nose, deep, rich, dried type fruits like your figs and your deep red fruits like that. I liked a little bit of bitterness on it, and a little bit of chocolate note, which is the same, kind of marrying into each other. I think water didn't hurt it at all. I enjoyed it neat. I enjoyed it neat, but I enjoyed it with water as well. So I'm not saying it made it better. It definitely didn't make it worse. I enjoyed it both ways, which is kind of cool. You said 43% ABV. This is much closer to my wheelhouse. If I'm going to steal your phrase there, Andrew. So it's definitely in my swim lane. Man, this is a solid 3. This is a solid 3. Give me a minute and I might talk myself out of it and go up.
Okay.
I would agree with the 3 note because I enjoy it much better with water. I mean, I think in the discussion we had, when you first
Mhm.
taste it, it's like it's all tightened. But when you add water and a fair amount of water, it loosens up, the sweetness comes up, it balances better with the bitterness. You get the chocolate note. The sulfur comes down on the nose, which I think is really important because that put me off initially. But I think the nose now is just kind of a malty sweetness, which I enjoy with some sherry notes. So I'm going to go with 3 on this as well. I think it needs water, or maybe it just needed time without the cap to get that sulfur wafted off. But it was really tight, and it needed the water from
Really?
tonight.
I am this close to bumping that to a 3.5 because while you were talking, I came back and there's a total creamy note that was in there, and I was like, "Oh, where were
Well, then
you?
go.
Hang on a minute,
Commit,
I'm reading the comments, hoping someone gives me a cheat button."
Yeah, I can't give this anything higher than a 3.
What was the price?
$60.
I mean, so that's a good price. I have to say that's a great price for this. $60
for a 12-year.
Yeah.
15.
You didn't say
12-year.
it's 12.
Okay, so it's not.
So, I mean, this is a great for that value. It's a good price. I think this is a value whiskey. You should probably have this on your bar, and that's why I give it a 3. I can't give it anything higher because you have to kind of work at it. And if you taste this right out of the bottle, you're gonna be like, but you need to give it some time.
I'm gonna agree with you. I would say 6 years ago, I probably gave it a 3.5.
That's possible.
I'm gonna stay 3 because I think I need to be a little bit more stingy with those numbers. I love this. This is a good whiskey. This is a good whiskey,
stingy.
and I honestly, I hope I have it on my bar.
Yeah, for $60, it's worth it. You got to put on your.
Yeah, man.
Maybe
Okay.
3.5. Okay.
So I want to score it
3+.
too. I'm actually really enjoying this. I feel like this. Once I name it, you'll figure out some things. But I feel like what you're getting out of this bottle is very surprising for what it is. Like, holy crap, this is not what I expected, and it's so much more. And I've forgotten how good it is. Like this is a really good dram. Back in the day, I gave this a 2. I clearly
What?
yes. I obviously don't know what the hell I was doing.
Well, I mean,
but that was a long time ago. One of the things that, if I recall correctly in the video, I think I said it was a little peated, which I didn't like back then. I'm not getting any peat.
Not at all
on this. I'm getting more sherry on this than I ever thought.
yeah, the bitterness might be what you're picking up,
But if I remember correctly,
I mean, that was 5 years ago. It's a different bottling now.
this is not a
So
sherry.
before you
It's
reveal it,
aged in seasoned oaked casks.
Is that
okay,
sherry?
fine.
Okay.
But before you reveal it, is there supposed to be is there documented peat in this?
So I don't have a good answer for you, but
Okay.
let me continue. So Mark, you gave it back then a 2.5.
Okay.
Andrew, you gave it a 3.
Oh,
So
right on
wow, and why I asked the question about peat is we were talking about this on one of the patron shows within the last couple of weeks. Over the years, 7-8 years doing this, guys, I kind of feel like I've become my tolerance for peat has gotten so high that sometimes I miss some of the very low peated whiskeys.
That's true.
They're like, "Oh, this is peat," and I'm like, "The hell it is!" And because I mean, when anymore in my palate, when you say peated, you better bring the peat,
Bring it,
or I ain't even gonna see it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna reveal it. I think it's an interesting segue because, first of all, again, very surprising to myself about how wow, this is not what I expected from the seasoned oak, like sherry forward, like Macallan. I can't believe you said it right out of the gate again. And you're right, it's totally there. But to your point of the peat and the nuances that you may miss, this is often referred to us as an established place of a distillery that is not known for peated, or it's got some peat there, but not very peat forward.
So Highland Park 12.
HP 12.
Good shit, man.
50
Love me some Highland Park.
50 ppm typically is what they do on their whiskeys. So
Wow. Yeah, it's
Or
very
maybe I
low
messed up.
Very
ppm.
light peated.
It's very low,
2.5?
and it's I mean,
And it's
and-
not
and
sherry at all. I don't.
so
believe
the
it.
irony is it's very low ppm, and the peat they're very low peat ppm, and the peat that they use is a heathery northern peat
It's
as
different.
opposed to an Isla
It's
peat,
different.
right? So
So I think that you mentioned it earlier, and you're the only one that said a brininess. There's a little bit of salt in there. I think that's part of their peat piece, but I still don't recall this being as like spicy sherry like it is.
I don't remember it being as sulfury up
So
front.
it says a wild harmony of honey-drenched oranges, winter spiced fruitcake, and floral peat smoke notes.
So the floral maybe, the peat smoke notes no, the spiciness a wee bit, but I don't remember the upfront fresh pour sulfur note that we got. That really caught me for a surprise on this Highland Park.
So you're basically the same. You gave it what?
5
A little bit
higher,
higher.
0.5
so
higher.
I think we all gave it higher marks than this. So this boosted itself, I believe, based off of our 7-year.
If they would just straighten out their damn marketing campaign.
Yeah, well, and I think Stuff for Work is right. I think HP is lower on their ppm. That's maybe not 50.
Yeah.
But
Fun, awesome.
Wowzer, man. So what was the price on this right now?
$59.99.
Interesting.
That's that I will say
You
right
should have
now
that
is
on
a
your bar.
great bottle for value for what you're getting.
yeah, I have to say that should be on my bar.
Balvenie, not so much. It's still good, but that's a little pricey.
You're
for
paying
what
for
you're
the
getting.
Balvenie name, but I
So-
don't know how Highland Park can.
To be honest with
Most
you
of
guys,
it.
if I'll be clear. I love the older Highland Parks. This is a great one. This 12 was fine, but I mean the 15 and the 18, the old 15 and 18s are still out there. You can still
harder to find.
Well, they are still. And when I mean by old, you'll know it's the old because it's not this shaped bottle that kind of flares out this way and it doesn't have all this Viking stuff on it. It's literally just a straight bottle,
Yep.
same shape, and it's none of this. Those old ones, you can still find them,
Wow.
and when I do,
You buy them?
I buy them because they're good.
Yeah.
But wow, this one was so much more sulfury up front than I remember it.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised. I did not think you guys would call that out so quickly. Because that's the first thing you said. We all said in the
smacked
video.
him in the
I
face.
nosed it. I mean, as soon as I
He
hit it,
even
I'm
said
like,
I would do this.
he's gonna call it McAllen.
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, it's exactly repeat. So it's interesting
Wow.
that it's been 7 years, but
I guess your COVID nose is back.
you're better than what you
Probably.
thought you were.
But the funny thing is not only has it been 7 years of experience with this, it's 7 years experience with this, right? I mean, there's so many times I remember 4 or 5 years ago doing reviews. We're recording them at the time. We don't do live back then,
Yeah.
and we're recording reviews. And I'm sitting here going to whiskey, and I'm like, oh, I know what Andrew's coming in on. I'm like, this is a 2 all day on Andrew, right? I mean, we just know it. You get
Yeah.
to know each other so much about your palate and what your likes and dislikes are and your wheelhouses and whatnot. But this one caught me off guard with the
Highland
sulfur
Park.
note.
Highland Park 12.
That's the
Yeah,
winner.
that was cool. That was
Fun
really
show.
cool.
Of the two, definitely the Highland Park 12. Yep.
Yeah, I definitely would rather have this one. Not saying I didn't. I mean, I would turn that down.
The
I mean,
Balvenie?
Yeah, who's going to turn the Balvenie down?
I would turn
no
down
way.
White Walker. but wouldn't
I
turn
still
that down.
enjoy it. It's different profile.
Let me before we sign off, let's go to the comments for a hot second and just see what did everybody
Figure it out?
where's everybody at on
Yeah, I
that?
didn't- I
You know,
never
did
read
you
that.
all think we were full of it back then, full of it now? How did this marry up? Does it seem
Well, I don't recall seeing too many comments specifically about this other than when we first started it. I think everyone was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I think they all felt that it would be a curveball. So
I guess we didn't curve
I-
too
it
much.
did
We curved a
curve
little
too
bit.
bad.
Stuff for Work says when you find an old 15 or 18, buy it and send it to me. Well, Stuff for Work, I know where one of each is right now. It's right next door to the tamale shop that we go to. They still have them in there. I mean,
do they really?
covered in dust.
Oh my god.
Maybe we need to pay a visit.
All right. We'll do that. We can do
I've
that.
left them there because I have a few of them at home already.
Yeah, there's no point in buying more if they're still
But
there.
I mean, they really are good. I mean, the old 15 and the old 18 are
Mm.
really worth it. They're good stuff.
Do you remember killing a bottle of 18 with Tony G?
Oh my!
Our first
gosh.
HP 18,
There were like 10 of us on that live cast.
we smashed that bottle in 45 minutes.
We had 6
Thing
guys. We killed a bottle.
gone.
That was interesting. That bottle was amazing.
I can't believe.
So, I mean,
that was-
honestly, out of
wow.
all everyone that's watching at home, what do you think? Highland Park 12 or Balvenie 14 for the price point that they're coming in at? Mind you, the 14 Balvenies, what did
90?
you say? Twice the price?
Yeah.
No, 50%. more.
Okay.
90 versus 60.
Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
$30 more. $30 more for those 2 years, yay or nay, right?
I mean, if you like a bourbon finished, or, bourbon cask with a little bit of sweetness added to it because of the rum,
Right.
that's your
See,
whiskey.
look, Kim's like, I found an old 15 and bunkered it. Absolutely, you did. And you'll be thankful you did when you open it someday. They're good.
Yeah.
I
mean-
Tom Mars says HP 12 every day. Whiskey Franco, HP 12 by a massive margin. But Corey says, I like Balvenie.
I like Balvenie. Don't get me wrong, as far as a distillery, but in this one right here,
The Balvenie Week of Pete, love it. Love the fact
It's
that
a 14-year-old too, isn't it?
Yeah, and they love the fact that they have a different
Yeah.
peat profile than what you're typically used to.
right.
Love it.
Well, that's because they do it for 1 week out of the year,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting. Right. Yeah, I'm with you on
I
that.
love it.
I think just to be fair to the whiskeys tonight too, they're 2 totally different profiles. Like
Sure.
sherry versus just straight.
Well, and a unique finish, right? Rum. I mean, they're doing something unique and different. You're right.
Mhm.
You're right.
And then
So-
and the Highland Park, that's their core. That's their core whiskey right there.
You know
HP
what?
12.
I think it would honestly be a closer, fair fight if you had Balvenie 12 next to this.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a
You might be
better
right.
whiskey.
Maybe. But
All right.
anyway, that was pretty cool. That was fun.
Yep.
It's I honestly, being on this side of it, Drew, since I was on that side of it last week, there's really no pressure. It's not about being
Nope.
right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just about
That means it's my turn, right?
It's
It
your turn
is.
next. That's right.
So, I mean,
Love
you
it.
get to go buy 2 bottles, get on and look at all their old reviews, find out what it is. And there's no pressure about getting right. It's fun going through a whiskey you've
is.
gone through before. And I'm like,
I can't
what
wait.
is this?
it's fun seeing this side of the house
is
because I'm like, I know what you guys gave it, and I kind of had an idea before that. When you guys went through it, it's shockingly how close and similar you guys both are. It's like,
and
wow.
it's a 5-year later bottling, so that says something
Right.
for the blenders at the distilleries. They're trying to keep the liquid constant. So
Sure.
HP 12 is supposed to be HP 12, whether
Sure.
it's today or 5 years from now.
right.
They're trying to keep it the same. They
It would-
can't. It's not always possible, but they try.
It would be interesting if we got a bottle like this is not the same bottle we had 5 years ago.
I'm sure
This
it
is
probably
shite.
won't be.
This is not the same thing.
well, on the when we were reviewing the Balvenie, I had made a comment about the water. I'm like, I like this better with water. And I look up at the comments, and Tom's like, Mark likes it better with water. And now I'm like, is that good or bad?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't
I'm
look
like,
at the comments.
Tom's
You got
messing with
not
me.
because
He's
he'll
getting
mess you
mad,
up.
right?
Tom's
Tom's
good
over
about
there.
throwing in little bogeys out there.
Like, son of a gun, man. Don't read Tom's comments.
No, he's
Because
gonna
I'm
mess
like,
with
did I just screw up? Did I like it with water before?
you. Yeah.
Well, guys, fun
Uh,
format tonight. It's good to see you. We'll probably keep this up. I'm not sure if next week we'll do another show like this, but you were on tap, Andrew, to do the next one.
Ooh, next
Uh,
week I'm out. I'm going to see Billy Idol for my 50th birthday.
Wow.
You're 50?
it
Well,
a
my
white
sister.
wedding?
Well, not until the end of the month.
Gee, man, Christmas.
I
That's
know.
an
I'm
old
trying
man.
to catch up to you, man. If I'm only
What?
lucky.
No, I didn't say
Let's
that.
get more gray hair.
I do. I have more
And
hair.
I don't even call
Oh, see, I didn't say that. Damn. On that note,
this. He does have more hair than
I'm
gray
sorry.
hair.
on that note, patrons, we will see you on the after show. And thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, good show tonight. Love everybody out there. Happy Thursday.
Cheers.
Have a great weekend.
Cheers.
3, 2, 1.